Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside the Philippines. Today's story comes from Raymond, a 59-year-old Aussie who thought he was finally getting his second chance at life. After a rough divorce and decades of hard work, he packed up, moved to Cebu, and fell for a younger Filipina who promised him forever. What happened next? She didn't just break his heart, she drained his retirement, cheated behind his back, and vanished without a trace. This is one of the most heartbreaking stories we've ever received, not because it was fast, but because it was slow, real, believable. Raymond gave everything, and she made sure there was nothing left. Stick around. You need to hear how it all played out. Here's his story, in his own words. G'day mate, name's Ray. I'm 59, used to be a truck mechanic out of Newcastle. These days, I'm sleeping in my older brother's spare room, living out of a couple of duffel bags, and trying not to choke on the smell of old carpet and stale dog biscuits. You want the truth? I wasn't going to send this in. It's embarrassing. Hell, I haven't even told half of it to the boys at the shed. Just say things didn't work out when they ask why I'm back. But I keep watching your channel, and every time I hear one of those poor bastards talk about how they got played in the Philippines, I think, yeah, mate, same bloody thing happened to me, only I didn't just lose a bit of cash. I lost the whole damn lot. My retirement, my pride, and the future I thought I was building. She told me she loved me, said I was the only man she ever felt safe with, said we'd grow old together under mango trees, sitting on a porch, listening to roosters and laughing at the world. And I believed her, every word. Turns out I wasn't just getting scammed. I was being cheated on, lied to straight through my teeth, while she looked me in the eye and called me my forever. Now I'm back here, 10 degrees colder, drinking cheap beer out of a stubby holder that says, "World's best dad," wondering how the hell I let this happen. I'll tell you the whole story, from start to finish. No sugarcoating, no fancy words, just the truth, straight from a bloke who should have known better. Here's how I lost everything in the Philippines, and what I saw the day she walked out that still keeps me up at night. I wasn't planning to move overseas, not originally. I figured I'd retire in Newey, maybe buy myself a little van, do the caravan park loop, like a proper old bloke. But after the divorce, everything sort of fell apart. 22 years married, and then she's gone. Took her half, left me with silence and a fridge full of expired mustard. The kids, grown up, busy. They send the occasional birthday text, but they've got their own lives now. I was sitting in a rented unit, cold baked beans on toast, staring at the telly with the volume too loud, wondering what the hell I was supposed to do with myself. I sold the workshop. That place had my blood in the concrete, but my back was shot, and truth be told, I didn't have the energy for it anymore. The payout wasn't bad, enough to clear the debts and still leave a bit tucked away. No house, no partner, no responsibilities, just me and a gut full of restlessness. I started watching those YouTube videos. You've seen them. Blokes like me, half bald and sunburnt, grinning in some tropical market with a young Filipina hanging off their arm. Titles like "Retire in Paradise" and "Why I'll Never Go Back to the West." At first, I rolled my eyes, figured it was all puff, but the more I watched, the more I started to believe it. I saw videos of Cebu, clean beaches, friendly locals, old expats drinking beer in beach huts for a couple bucks a pop. I thought, maybe that's where the noise stops. Maybe that's where I could just exist. So I pulled the trigger, told my brother I'd be gone for 6 months, maybe longer, booked a one-way ticket, packed my duffel, said goodbye to my tools, and flew out with a head full of hope and a pair of cheap Crocs. Landing in Cebu was like stepping into another world. Warm air, big smiles, jeepneys packed tighter than a toolbox, and food stalls that smelled like garlic and sweet vinegar. I'd walk the boulevard every morning, nodding at strangers, sipping on 30 peso coffee that tasted better than anything from back home. I felt younger, lighter, invisible weight peeling off my shoulders. I thought maybe this was it, the start of something good, and that's when I met her, outside a pharmacy of all places. Her name was Maribel. She was standing outside the pharmacy, squinting at a list of medicine in her hand. I was trying to figure out if I'd bought cold tablets or laxatives. Everything on the box was in Bisaya, and she must have noticed me looking confused because she smiled and asked, "Need help, sir?" That was the first time I heard her voice. Soft, careful. Not the flirty kind either, just polite. I told her what I was after, and she walked in with me, talked to the pharmacist in that quick local way, then turned back and handed me the right pack. Said her name was Maribel. Said she worked part-time at a cafe nearby. I offered to buy her a coffee to say thanks. She laughed and said okay. We sat down at a little place across the street and we just talked. I didn't expect much from it. She was 27. Me, I was pushing 60 and looked every bit of it. But she didn't treat me like some old weirdo. She asked questions, listened, said I reminded her of her late father, but not in a creepy way, just that I seemed kind and strong. We had coffee again the next day, and the next. Before I knew it, she was coming by the apartment with takeaway, tidying up the kitchen, folding my shirts even though I didn't ask. She said it made her happy to help. I know what you're thinking. I've watched enough of your channel to know how this usually goes. But you've got to understand, she didn't ask for a single peso, not for 2 whole months, not a "can you help me with load?" Not a sob story, nothing. She'd sit on the balcony with me, point at stars I couldn't name, and talk about her dreams. Said she wanted to open a small canteen one day, serve lugao and pancit to tricycle drivers in her barangay. Told me how her mother raised her alone, how she always looked after people. Said she wanted to look after me too. And I believed her. I did. I hadn't felt that kind of warmth in decades. I wasn't lonely anymore. I wasn't just some foreigner. I was her Ray. That's what she called me. My Ray. She'd sneak up behind me when I was watching footy reruns and wrap her arms around my chest like I was something valuable. Looking back now, I can see how fast it moved, how easy I made it. But at the time, I didn't feel like I was being taken. I felt like I'd finally found something real. It started small, like it always does. One night, we were sitting on the floor eating barbecue from plastic bags, and she tells me her uncle back in the province has this bit of land he wants to sell. Nothing fancy, just a flat little plot near her old barangay. She shows me a photo on her phone, some banana trees, a dusty road, a dog tied to a post. Said she always dreamed of building a simple house there, maybe one day live quiet, plant vegetables, raise pigs. I asked her how much. She hesitated like she didn't want to say. "It's okay, Ray," she whispered. "We don't need to talk about money." That's how she got me, by pretending not to want anything. A week later I offered, told her I wanted to help. If we were serious, and by then I thought we bloody well were, then it made sense to plan ahead. She cried when I sent the first transfer. Not big tears, just quiet ones, like I'd done something sacred. Hugged me for so long I forgot what I'd even sent. 150,000 pesos, I think. Maybe more. After that, the expenses started to build. Cement, roofing, rebar. Then suddenly her niece was sick. Hospital bills. Then her cousin's motorbike accident. Then the typhoon. Every time I'd ask for proof. She'd show me receipts. Probably fake, but they looked real enough. Photos of half-built walls, a pile of gravel, a man in slippers holding a shovel. I didn't know what I was looking at, but she'd press her cheek against mine and say, "Thank you, my Ray. You're making my dreams come true." It felt good to provide again, like I mattered. Like I wasn't just waiting to rot away in some Aussie caravan park. I didn't keep track the way I should have. I told myself it was all going toward our future, a shared life, a little home by the rice fields. I'd imagined sitting on a bamboo bench, her head on my shoulder, the smell of garlic and firewood in the air. I was nearly 60 and still dumb enough to think that meant something. It was a Thursday night, nothing special. Maribel was in the shower, humming some pop song out of tune, and I was stretched out on the couch, half watching a replay of a footy match. I remember thinking how quiet the world felt. Warm air drifting in through the screen door, the ceiling fan clicking lazily overhead. Her phone was on the coffee table, buzzing. That wasn't unusual. She was always messaging someone. But this time, it lit up with a name I hadn't seen before. Baby Co. Now look, I'm not the jealous type. At least I didn't think I was. But that name, it punched me right in the gut. I stared at it. My hand moved before I could talk myself out of it. I picked up the phone and opened the message. "Can't wait to feel you again tonight." Same place? I don't remember breathing. My mouth went dry. I sat there, frozen, staring at that one line like it might change if I looked long enough. But it didn't. I opened the full thread. Messages going back weeks, some even older. Sweet nothings, voice notes, photos I can't unsee. Him telling her she was his everything. Her saying she missed him already. She was still in the shower, completely unaware. I didn't move, didn't think. I just kept scrolling. And the more I saw, the more I felt something heavy settle in my chest. Like the past few months had just collapsed into dust. She walked out wrapped in a towel, hair dripping, smiling like it was just another night. I didn't say a word. I held out the phone, screen still lit, messages still open. She stopped in her tracks. Her face changed. No anger, no panic. Just this long silence, like she was figuring out which version of the truth to sell me. Then the waterworks came. She dropped to her knees beside the couch, sobbing hard, grabbing my hands. She kept saying, "You don't understand, Ray. It's not what you think. I love you. I really love you." She claimed he meant nothing, said she was scared I'd leave someday, that she didn't know how to trust her feelings, that she just needed something, some backup, some comfort. Her voice cracked. Her eyes were red, and part of me, and the stupid part, still wanted to believe her. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just stared at her like she was a stranger. Behind her on the wall was that frame she'd hung up a few weeks earlier, the one with the glittery gold words, "Forever starts now." I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed beside her, eyes open, her breathing soft and steady, like nothing was wrong. I stared at the ceiling, feeling like a man who'd wandered out into the ocean and couldn't see the shore anymore. The next morning she acted normal, made me breakfast, smiled, said she was going to the market. I waited 10 minutes, then followed her from a distance. She didn't go to the market, she went straight to a small hotel in Mandaue, walked in like she'd done it 100 times, and an hour later I watched as he arrived. I waited across the street, sitting on a low wall beside a fruit stand, pretending to scroll on my phone while my whole body felt like it was on fire. I watched the hotel entrance like a hawk. After an hour he showed up, the guy from the messages, younger, maybe late 20s, with slick hair and that cocky bounce in his step. He didn't even look around, just walked right in. I don't know how long I sat there, but when I saw them come out together later, laughing, her arm tucked into his like it belonged there, I felt something inside me go cold. It wasn't just anger. It was humiliation. I'd paid for her phone, her clothes, her makeup, probably even the bloody hotel room they'd just come out of. I stood up and called her name across the street. Just once. Loud, firm. Maribel. She froze mid-step. The smile dropped off her face like a mask sliding to the floor. The guy looked confused, then awkward, like he suddenly didn't want to be part of whatever was about to happen. She turned to me slowly, eyes wide like a kid caught nicking lollies from the servo. I walked across, calm. My heart was thumping, but my voice came out low. I asked her who he was. She mumbled, "A friend." I asked again, louder this time. That's when the tears came. She reached for me, hands shaking, voice breaking. "Ray, please. It's not what you think." I told her I'd read the messages, seen the photos. I knew everything. She sobbed harder, saying she didn't mean to hurt me, that she loved me, that she was just scared. Scared of what? I asked. Scared of growing old with someone who actually gave a damn about you? She said she never thought I'd stay, that I might leave her one day and she'd be left with nothing, that she just needed someone her own age to talk to, that it didn't mean anything. All the usual lines, each one worse than the last. And the thing that gutted me the most, she cried like she believed it, like somehow I was the one who didn't understand. Back at the apartment, she didn't even try to argue. She packed quietly, still crying, still saying, I love you, please don't hate me." She grabbed her clothes, her makeup, even one of my shirts, the old faded one she used to wear after showers. Then she was gone. No big fight, no last words, just the sound of the door clicking shut. And just like that, the woman who told me I was her forever walked out of my life like it had all been nothing. After she left, the apartment felt like a crime scene. Not because of the mess, she took everything that belonged to her, left it spotless, but because every corner had a memory attached to it. Her slippers by the door were gone, so was the little pillow she liked. Even the empty spot in the fridge where she used to keep her fruit juice felt loud. I sat there that night, not angry, just hollow. I stared at the wall, then at my bank app. My stomach turned. I started doing the math properly for the first time. All the transfers, all the just helps, the so-called land, the building supplies, her sick niece, her cousin's bike accident, the house we were almost finished building. Every excuse she'd whispered to me while rubbing my back or kissing my forehead added up fast. Over 2.4 million pesos. That's over 60,000 Aussie dollars. Gone. I called a fixer I'd met a few months back, a local bloke who helped expats with documents. Asked him to look into the land title. A week later, he messaged me with one sentence. The land belongs to someone else. Different name. No transfer. So there it was. The house wasn't ours. The land never existed. All those photos? Either fake or someone else's progress. I'd been sending money for a future that was never real. I tried messaging her, not even to fight, just to ask why. No response. Her number was dead. Facebook deactivated. Even the old photos we'd taken together, the ones where she was resting her head on my shoulder, grinning like a kid, all gone from her account. And here's the kicker. My visa was close to expiring. I didn't have enough left to renew it. Rent was due in a week. I was eating cup noodles and rationing what was left of my emergency fund. I even sold the second-hand laptop I'd bought just to afford the flight home. It was humiliating. I felt like the dumbest man in Cebu. I packed my bags slowly like I was hoping something would stop me. A message, a call, anything. But nothing came. When I landed back in Sydney, my brother was waiting. He didn't ask questions, just helped me load my bags into the ute, handed me a meat pie and said, "Spare room's yours. Shower's hot. Let's get you sorted." I nearly cried right there in the car park, so now I'm back in Maitland, sleeping in my brother's spare room on a lumpy mattress with a busted spring that jabs me in the ribs if I roll too far left. There's a window that rattles when the wind kicks up, and the whole room smells faintly of dog biscuits and dust. But it's a roof, and it's mine. Well, technically his. Some mornings I wake up thinking I'm still in Cebu. I half expect to hear Maribel in the kitchen boiling water for coffee, humming one of those sappy ballads she liked. But then I open my eyes and remember where I am. I've told bits of the story to the guys at the local men's shed. Not all of it. I say I got burned over there. They nod. Most don't ask for details. But sometimes one of them will look at me a bit too long. And I know they know. Or maybe they've got their own version of it tucked away. The worst part isn't the money. Don't get me wrong, 60 grand is a lot. That was my cushion, my freedom. But what really eats me is that I meant it. Every hug, every peso, every dream of growing old with her on a little porch in the province, it was real for me. And I thought, deep down, it might have been real for her too. A few weeks after I got back, I got an email. No subject line. Just 2 lines of text and a blurry selfie. It was her, Maribel. "I'm sorry, Ray. I loved you, but I needed more than love." I stared at that screen for an hour, read it over and over like maybe the words would rearrange themselves into something that made sense. But they didn't. They still don't. I didn't reply. What would I even say? That she wrecked me? That I still sometimes catch myself hoping she'll walk back through the door? That I'm too bloody old to start over again? I wish I could say I came out stronger, wiser, that I learned to spot the signs. But the truth is, I don't know. I don't trust my own gut anymore. So here I am, 59, broke, and back where I started. I still check my email more than I should. Still lie awake some nights, thinking about what could have been. I didn't just lose money. I lost what I thought was my last shot at something real. And that's the kind of wound that doesn't heal fast. Anyway, thanks for letting me get this off my chest. If my story saves even one other bloke from going down the same road, I suppose it was worth sending. Take care of yourselves and watch out for promises wrapped in warm smiles. Thanks for sharing your story, Ray. And thank you for watching Inside the Philippines. These stories are sent in by real people, expats, travellers, and foreigners who've lived through the highs and lows of life in the Philippines. If you found this one powerful, let us know in the comments. And if you've got a story of your own, whether it's love, loss, culture shock, or anything in between, we'd love to hear it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more real stories from inside the Philippines. We'll see you in the next one.